Welcome. This is Barry Jones from the Angel School, and we're here for our weekly angel reading for January the 31st through February 6th, 2022. So before we begin, I'd just like to welcome everyone back and this week, and also welcome anyone who may be new to the channel and to the Angel School community. And before I begin, I just want to sort of make you aware of just a few things. As a reminder, the 31st will be the last day for the special offer angel reading, which has been my $77 half-hour reading, which I extended for 1 full hour since the pandemic. So after the 31st, this will just go back to being my half-hour reading option. And if you are having a reading with me for the very first time, you can get the reading, the promotional offer reading for $103 on my channel if you're new, and so here I'm going to do this. So if you are getting a reading with me for the first time this year, even though you've had a reading with me previously, you can get that special first time offer reading. And then after that, it will be the regular price, okay? All right, so let's take a deep breath and really center. And as I was beginning, I was sort of seeing mermaid energy. And this is about going with the flow and healing on an emotional level. And they're writing the word health. So as we take care of our emotional health, we're better able to see ourselves in our true form. And I feel like we tend to struggle with who we are. And we struggle with who we are because we struggle with seeing others as who they are. And the inner critic has found this voice of not accepting who we are. And so it has turned on what are really your gifts, your special way of being, your uniqueness, your oneness. It's turned on that. And it has turned it into this very disabling criticism. And so what they really want you to do is to really, in order to start being able to find, first of all, they write this sovereign power, so that you begin to own your power, that you have to start seeing those things that you pick at as a part of your gift. So I was doing a writing for this week, and it came up about the Seven of Cups, or the Seven of Waters, Seven of Water in this deck here. And this is a card where we normally, we say somebody has their head stuck in the clouds, and this is a card where we usually look at it and say, oh, this is a person who's always distracted, who procrastinates. So there's that word, L word, lazy, doesn't get accomplished, doesn't finish anything because they can't focus on anything. And many people might associate this with ADHD or ADD, right? Or was it AD? Yeah. Attention deficit, yeah. So, but these are actually gifts because you have a way of seeing the world. First of all, this kind of person has the ability to see options, meaning that they have a way of seeing the world very differently than others. This is a person who usually has a strong innate creativity. And you have this ability, the writing, empathic, and that you have this ability to empower people because you have the ability to see the best in them. And the reason that you're able to see the best in other people is because you're able to notice those points about them or those aspects of them that other people often do not see. Now, one of the things they were talking about was the Lemurian influence. I'm not sure what I want to call it, but many of us have probably had a lifetime in Lemuria. And one of the things about the Lemurians, or before the Atlanteans, is that they were highly spiritual and high frequency, and they had trouble really getting into their bodies, literally. So they kind of hang out above them because they were afraid of losing that connection to source. And by coming fully into the three-dimensional reality, they were trying to avoid being sort of really, sorry about the heat making all the noise, but they were really concerned about just being sort of stuck in that duality and in the human experience that we're all so very much aware of. And so they kind of hovered above their bodies and only used it for certain activities, well, I can't think of words today, but, to, give birth and to procreate and all that kind of thing. So they basically, and so one of the things that I'm discovering is that the Lemurians had that fear of this, physical reality. And that card reminds me of, it just triggered that memory for me and that insight, because one of the things that I find is that, or people find with that, when they identify with that card or they identify someone else with that card, is that it's also about escapism. And that's what the Lemurians were kind of doing in a sense. And so, but the idea is that you really have to anchor yourself into this dimension. So one of the things you may want to check is to make sure that you're, and you can do this by just mentally, with your eyes closed or in your imagination, scan and see where your spirit body is with your physical body. And I would look for my feet and to see where my feet might be. Is it above my head, around the area of my shoulder, around my belt, or my waist, my kneecaps, or is it fully, at the same level of where your physical feet are? And depending on all the others, you would need to then take a deep breath. And as you breathe in, draw that physical body, that spiritual body, down into your physical body. until your physical body, the feet of your spiritual body, your physical body are fully aligned. So just take a moment to see where you might be. And even if you didn't have a lifetime in Lemuria, all of this, it's all passed down. So, through our DNA, right? And so we want to just be aware, because we have the tendency to do this. And this is what they mean when they say making sure you're really grounded. Make sure you're not hovering above. And this is triggered when, and they're writing star seeds too. So this is for those of you who might have a star seed lineage, you might do this as well when you feel like you don't belong. And this might cause you to feel this way. And when you start thinking and feeling this way, you start to sort of rise out of your body. That sense of, it felt like I was hearing, I want to go home, like ET go home, like, that syndrome of, I want to go home, right? When things get really difficult in your chosen incarnation, you're here for a purpose. And for many of us, you won't find that purpose until you put your feet on the ground. And that also means action steps towards what your heart is desiring. So one of the things is getting stuck in your imagination is that you're sort of stuck in limbo. It's sort of like you're in limbo. So you are, feeling and imagining, and in a way, you're creating a movie in your head of this superhero who's saving the world. But it's an active imagination of inaction, because in your physical world, your ego is so critical that it's telling you all the reasons why your dream is just a fantasy and can never be a reality. Now, this is going to create an extraordinary amount of emotional struggle, because you're basically torn. And this is what causes you not to be able to do anything. And so you keep putting something off, or you keep avoiding it. You just keep skirting around it. You navigate, and you're awake. You get up every day, and you move around, and you go through routines, fine, because they're already set in stone. And it's like a zombie, because it's like, okay, I just know I have to be there, but I'm not really here. And that's what it's like to be hovering above your body, and maybe possibly how it was for them, because I don't think they just left the physical body lying there, but they were maybe going through routines without really being present with the physical routines and being more present with the etheric ones. So you really want to come into your body, and then you want to take a piece of your imagination, a piece of it that you can digest, maybe a piece that you translate into a reality, something that you can actually do to make a contribution. And once you start to do this, you're going to realize that your heroic dream isn't that difficult, and that it's not just a fantasy. Once you get it translated and you start walking on this path, and once you start walking on the path, everything is going to start to flow towards you. Okay? Everything is going to start to flow towards you, but you got to accept yourself first. You feel different, and they keep writing star seeds in front of me. You feel different from everybody else. You feel out of place. You feel like you don't fit in. Well, that's the reason. Because the way you are isn't meant to fit in. The way you are is meant to inspire. You're not meant to fit in. You're meant to inspire. And I'm going to use that word leader. Your role is one of leadership, but to inspire, that role of leadership can look. Remember, we're not here to play by the rules. You're here to inspire new ones. So a leader can look like anything. And when you think about inspiring, you could be the first person to sort of tip over the domino. So you could be that first moment of action that just creates a process that unfolds, that awakens others to, so an activator, right? Awakens others to step into their role. You could be an influencer. There's so many ways that this leadership role or this role of inspiring could play itself out for you. But first, you have to honor your uniqueness. You have to let it flow, like that waterfall we were talking about a few weeks ago, as the angels gave me a sense of what oneness is. It's uniquely, like letting, without restraining, who you are, letting it flow, pour over everything. And remembering that you're not here to fit in, meaning you're not here to be like everybody else. Remember, oneness is not unison, like where everybody sings the same note, the same melody together. It's harmony. And whatever your differences are, we need to start celebrating them. Not only within yourself, but celebrate everyone else's differences as well. I don't know if I want to share, but I do have my imaginations. I'm definitely this kind of person. And I was somewhere, probably sitting on the bus on my way to the grocery store, and I was thinking about, the world and how we have all of this hatred. And I think that word has there's a spectrum, of hatred, and we know some of the names of what they are. And I was just sitting there thinking, so I was imagining that I was on this talk show that I was hosting, where allowing for the healing of this kind of very thing. And I realized, like, there's nothing that you can say to someone who has hatred except to just hold the space of love. And I was imagining that the whole audience would be given the instruction and would only be invited if they were able to do that, even in silence. Because I think most of the times when we say, okay, I'm just gonna listen, but you're not, because even in your silence, your criticisms, your judgments, they are felt telepathically. And so the person keeps responding even to your silence, your telepathic communication, your judgment and your criticism. And the idea is that if it's really unconditional love, the person, and we were holding a space for them, they could hear their own thoughts. They would be able to hear, truly reverberate back to them what it is that they're actually putting out there vibrationally. And the space to be able to acknowledge that would shift them in a way that is correct for them. Because again, we can't be trying to change people. We have to hold the space for them to find the best version of themselves. And so, you might have these kind of musings, and you might just dismiss them. But these are the activations of your being feeling different, because you have something different to offer to a world of patterns and cycles, karma. These are the lessons, the divine blueprints of the ascension path, the spiral of evolution. And they write in Lemurians, wake up and share your incredible, unconditional love. The Lemurians were very telepathic, so you don't even really have to say much. Your ability to inspire, and I'm not saying that it's going to be silence the way you communicate, but it just might be the way. The thing that is that, again, we have no idea what it means of how inspiration can work through you. So really keep your mind open, because every time you criticize yourself, you close that vast imagination. You close it off. And in doing so, it is like a sacred text that becomes a secret again, instead of becoming a gift that's shared. How about it? How about it? How about we get off of our backs and really start being who we are, truly who we are? Okay, let's take a look at the Archangel. And it's the Archangel Michael. So who better to help us to figure out how to share our truth? And when I pulled this card, I saw the angel number 888, and I saw the word acceptance. So, Archangel Michael helps us to stand in our truth. He is the archangel who's in charge of our throat chakra. And they're writing that you might want to work, the Lemurians, starseeds, with lapis. They just wrote it again. They told me I wear it. I always have crystals that I wear in my pocket for everyone's reading that are given to me to wear. And then I just saw it again, so I'm sharing that with you, which is the color of Archangel Michael's aura. And so the angel number 888 says, this is a very auspicious sign of complete financial support from the universe. Money is flowing in your direction. And when I saw this with the word acceptance, do you see what they mean? Do you see the connection? The acceptance of who you are allows you to act upon your special, unique gifts, your way of seeing the world, instead of running away from it. And what you've been doing is running away from it, withholding all of the support that you need. And now when you start to embrace who you are, the very essence of your gifts, and you start to take those few steps towards expressing this, you start to manifest what you need. You start to manifest as a result what you need. And so this is going to be an important aspect of your your work. And your work is always awareness. So just being aware this week of where you have acceptance and where you withhold acceptance for parts of yourself. And I want you to lay down before you in a pad of paper or with any kind of tools, instruments of creativity at your disposal. I want you to lay down before you the things that you criticize, and I want you to create an image of art for yourself, whether it's through words, meaning that you transform the way you see that criticism and you transform it into your power, a profound power, a profound gift. Because this is how you restore your sovereignty. And then as you do this, you will also, the stagnation they're writing will just start to lift the blocks. So if you've been feeling like you don't know what to do, you don't have direction, or you've been feeling like you've been stuck on an idea or solutions, that stagnation, that block will lift because you will be inspired by who you are. And that inspiration is momentum. And just follow it. Your intuition, and check in with your intuition. And just be yourself. The message on the card from Archangel Michael says, stand in your power. Be true to yourself. So if you ever really want to work with an archangel who will help you to be true to yourself, then it is Archangel Michael that you want to work with. Because when you call upon him, you will be able to find your true voice of expression in any arena that you are focused upon or working in. Even in those circumstances where we feel at our weakest, our greatest fear, you will be able to find that clarity. So this is a thing they keep writing star seeds and Lemurians. Whether you identify as a star seed or a Lemurian, you could also be both. I know I am, and a few other things. So just be aware that these aspects of you now are coming forward. They're coming forward, and they flow. They're writing the word laws, as the laws of the universe. They flow, and all the laws of the universe come together in alignment and work, and you don't have to figure them out. But when you are being true to yourself, you are in alignment with the laws of one. Because the laws of one is what oneness is. And what oneness is that we're being true to ourselves, that we're allowing what is uniquely us to flow without restraint. And it flows together, each and every one of us together as harmony, which is unity, is not unison, but harmony. We're not here to be the same. And in the realm of spirit, we're not the same. That's why unconditional love comes from above as below. And it must be below as above. So practice accepting others by letting your gifts come forward and having that unique perspective about them, no matter how difficult they are. And I'm not telling you that because you do this, that you have to have a relationship with them or associate with them in any way, shape, or form. You can avoid them like the plague because of who they're choosing to be. But in seeing them, and their own uniqueness, seeing them unconditionally, you activate the support that they need. You don't have to be around them to do this, but you activate the support that they need to be who they truly are, to become who they truly are, and who they're meant to be in this lifetime. Okay, let's take a look at the card for the beginning of the week. And we have the Ace of Air, and we have this beautiful unicorn riding on this light. Okay, and the Ace of Air I always call this the breakthrough moment. This card, this is the breakthrough, where we're able to get this moment of clarity. And this particular suit, right after this, it's just kind of, it seems like it's all downhill, right? With go into 2, I can't make a decision. And if you think about it, because it's a cycle, the way the suits are set up, the card right before it is the Ace of the 10 of Air, which is calamity. But it's also that sense, and why it's connected to this, because it's that sense of, well, once it's like you've hit the bottom, rock bottom. There's only up from there. Meaning, because once the hard lesson has hit, and you either have a choice to deny the truth that you see before you, that you've learned, or to accept it, embrace it, and take it. That's why we usually see the sword with the crown, going through the crown and the laurel wreath, because there's a sense of victory, right? Clarity is a breakthrough. It's a sense of victory, of triumph, of achievement. So this is telling you that you have, at the beginning of this week, this opportunity to see another way. If you've been praying for solutions, if you've been praying for a new direction, this is optimal time for that to come through for you. And so we have to be open to it. Be open. So on this day, practice being open-minded. Doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if you share it or not. Or like I said, if it's about being open-minded about a person, you don't have to be in their presence. But what it does for you is it allows you to retain your power. Because once you criticize someone else or judge them, or it becomes something worse than that, then your experience becomes deeper in terms of pain and suffering. Even if you're angry and outraged, which can feel very good at times, it's still using your energy. I won't say it's a waste of energy, but it's costing you energy. Let's take a look at the card for the middle of the week. Okay, so we have the Four of Water. And this is a card that's often sort of seen as, and here we have a mermaid, as, apathy. Someone who just doesn't care, one way or the other, whatever you want to do, sure, whatever, okay? Some people see this card, because of the fours and the Emperor, as a time for foundation, really figuring out who you are, kind of really grounding yourself, or need to ground yourself, even a need to take time for yourself, right? It could, since this is a cup, so water, relationships, a time for relationship with yourself, right after, having all that fun with the friends, previously. So this card can go a couple of different ways here. And I'm just feeling right now it's so important with this card and Archangel Michael that you focus on yourself, that you focus on your unique gifts and get in alignment with who you truly are. Instead of, you know, as the card that would normally precede it, really, hanging out with other people and enjoying that discovery of who you are within the context of others. When we're in the context of others, we tend to kind of go with that flow. And here we're given the opportunity to just really go with our own flow, right? And really, really discover what that is. So these two cards, it seems like a discovery of self becomes something. And if 4 + 1 becomes 5, which creates a transformation within yourself. All right, let's see where this might possibly lead. Page of Fire. So with the Page of Fire here, and let me just see if we can, it's just so very interesting, this card. It's very beautiful. And I just want to see. Well, see, the Page of Fire here is someone who, well, all the pages are learning or they are initiating something, right? And so what's happening here is that as you come and this transformation happens, it ignites a fire. Fire, what we're talking about earlier, inspiration. So that once you have this transformation in yourself, you start to understand who you are and what your purpose is. And then you start to get a sense of direction, a sense of a direction to move towards. You get a sense of what you're here to inspire or how you wish to inspire. And as this is a beginning process, this is a big first stage, right, of awareness of what that is, you have to also protect it. One of the ways you have to protect it first is by action steps, right? We're talking about that because that grounds us, takes that imagination and starts to ground it into action. So you start to take steps, but make sure you take steps that you can digest. And you're going to have to check yourself in terms of letting your inner critic really put more responsibilities where they're right out in front of me. So you'll be happy, but then your inner critic will start to get you with the responsibility. So to undermine you by making you feel overwhelmed by the earthly responsibility. And for Lemurian stars, he's like, the manipulation stuff and having to do this in order to get to people to do, you start to really freak out because you don't like doing that. So you won't have to do that. Take your time. Let the new perspective find the path that resonates with you. Don't try to do it the way that it's been done or that the world does things today, that our society, the cycling, the karma. You don't have to do that. You're on the path of ascension in the spiral of evolution. As you take those steps, your gifts will come forward and reveal the higher path. That is also an important part of your work. And showing people how to ground, manifest with the highest intentions of love. And showing them the incredible support that and ease that the universe can bring through when we do this. So there's so many important and valuable lessons in why this is unfolding the way it is and why you have to go through this process of accepting who you are and your gifts so that you can have full access to that vast experience that you've had from lifetimes living in higher vibrations. And now we have the bottom card I pulled from the bottom, and it's the Two of Earth. So this is giving us a sense that, you're having to balance. And one of the things that's just coming to me is how one card is sort of one pentacle or coin is up and the other one is down. And it's a source, of course, it's a sense of balance. But what's coming to me is that one is sort of heavenly, etheric, and the other one is earthbound. And so you're learning, the Lemurians, to balance, starseeds, to balance your spiritual essence with your physical essence. These are not separate parts of you. They are one. They are meant to work together, and they can function together. The disconnect is in our minds. Our minds, there's so many teachings out there. I know the one I grew up in, which was really horrible, which was that my body was a sin. And so how are you supposed to deal with that? What are you supposed to do with that? It causes you to hate your body. It causes you to hate the world. And God didn't create the world for us to hate it. He didn't create our bodies for us to hate it. He didn't create pleasure within us for us to hate it. They just wrote the word Neapolitan. So, yeah, we have to start really bringing these new, bringing in forth this inspiration that's coming through us, right? We're here to bring the balance of the spiritual and the physical experience, and not to try to make them the same or to see that we have to compete, but to find harmony, balance, harmony with them, because they coexist already. But we have to stop letting the inner critic keep forging a separation. I'm hearing this we are already whole. We are already healed. There is only this aspect of the mind that keeps forging the belief that the experience is not. And so when you keep seeing, and I know this is going to be huge to say and controversial, but when you keep seeing your body as not healed, that's a sign that you have to accept. You have to accept your body and the gifts of your body and the gifts of the experience that you're going through, because that experience, the experience itself, is trying to help you to restore your mind to the awareness of wholeness. It's letting you know that how you're experiencing yourself in your body is not the way it was meant to be. There's no judgment, there's no guilt, there's no sin around what is happening. There is only that there's awareness or attention to this mind aspect of us that is creating something that is not meant to be. Same thing in relationships. When you feel like the world or people in your life are against you or doing things to harm you, I'm not saying that on the physical level that's not what's going on, but I'm saying in a deeper level, we have to be aware that there that all relationships are whole and healed. They are what they need to be for our own ascension. And that if we stop using words to criticize and judge them, because you already know what you're going through, but you find something to see, you find something within them that's worthy, you will see your own worth as a result. It's just the way it is. The inner reality, the outer reality is an extension, a reflection, a projection of the inner reality. The inner reality is whole, or it can be, if the mind is not projecting those criticisms or interjecting the ideas of separation. Once you heal the inner reality and make it whole again, and this is what they mean by that sovereignty, then your outer reality must, by law, must reflect what is within, as above as below. Because we actually think up and down when it's actually in, out. All right, so we must close and realize where we were. So I send you lots of love and angel blessings, and have a beautiful and incredible week of potential transformation. God bless you.